You walk out of a building, grab your phone, open up a map app, and boom, there it is. A little glowing blue dot pinpointing exactly where you are, down to just a few meters, no matter where you happen to be on Earth. Have you ever just stopped to think about that everyday magic? There's no big visible antenna on your phone, nothing is taking a physical measurement around you, yet almost like magic, it knows exactly where you're standing.
Seriously, how does your phone actually know where you are? It's a question we almost never stop to ask, but the answer is an absolutely incredible feat of engineering. In this explainer, we're going to peel back the layers of space physics, advanced mathematics, and local network engineering that make this instant geolocation possible. Because that tiny blue dot on your screen, it represents one of the most complex technological systems humanity has ever built.
Well, to figure this out, we literally have to leave Earth. The whole process actually kicks off in outer space with a massive network of 31 active Global Positioning System or GPS satellites. These satellites are constantly broadcasting their precise locations and highly accurate timestamps back down to us. And the scale we're talking about here, it's honestly mind-boggling. These machines are orbiting the Earth at a staggering altitude of 20,200 kilometers. To put that into perspective, that is a massive void for a tiny radio signal to cross, just to reach the device sitting in the palm of your hand. So, let's get into part 1, space math and trilateration. We need to figure out exactly how your pocket-sized device communicates across that huge distance and how it translates those signals into a dot on a map.
It all comes down to this really cool mathematical concept called trilateration. See, radio waves travel at the absolute constant speed of light, so your phone essentially acts like a giant, super precise stopwatch. It simply measures the exact time delay between when the satellite transmitted the signal and when your phone actually received it. Multiply that time delay by the speed of light, and your phone knows exactly how far away that specific satellite is.
But how does knowing the distance give you a location on a map? Well, it's like a giant puzzle in the sky. If you know your distance from one satellite, you're somewhere on a massive sphere. 2 satellites narrow it down to an overlapping circle. 3 gets you down to just 2 possible points. And that is where the crucial 4th satellite comes in to resolve the ambiguity and nail down your exact spot. Plus, that 4th one does something absolutely vital. It provides the math needed to correct your phone's cheap internal clock against the hyper-accurate clocks up in space. And this whole setup isn't just an American thing. While we toss around the term GPS all the time, your smartphone is actually a lot smarter than that. It simultaneously pulls in data from Russia's GLONASS, Europe's Galileo, and China's Baidu constellations, making sure you have maximum reliability no matter where you travel in the world. With all those satellites working together, the precision is just wild. Standard consumer devices usually have a margin of error of about 3 to 5 meters. But thanks to augmentation systems like WAAS, the Wide Area Augmentation System, which uses ground stations to correct satellite signal errors, that accuracy can actually shrink down to under a single meter. Pretty amazing, right? Okay, moving on to section 2, Einstein in your pocket. Now, this is where things get really wild. To get that sub-meter accuracy, we literally have to rely on complex theoretical physics just to get you walking directions to the nearest coffee shop. Yep, we're talking about Einstein's theories of relativity in action. So each satellite carries incredibly precise atomic clocks, but time doesn't tick the same way in space. Because the satellites experience weaker gravity, their clocks actually run slightly faster than ours. But wait, at the exact same time, their high orbital speed causes their clocks to run slightly slower. Engineers have to constantly mathematically wrestle with these competing relativistic forces. Why? Because these atomic clocks absolutely have to maintain accuracy down to a single nanosecond. That's 1 billionth of a second. You might be wondering, why does a billionth of a second even matter? Well, because those radio waves travel at the speed of light. Just a tiny 1 nanosecond hiccup in timing translates to a 30-centimeter physical positioning error down here on Earth. Think about it like this. If the engineers didn't actively program your phone to correct for Einstein's theories of relativity, the whole system would catastrophically fail. The time drift would snowball so fast that your map app would be off by 10 kilometers every single day. That blue dot would just wander completely off the map. Which brings us to section 3, when satellites go blind. Even with all this perfect math, outer space has its limits. Down here, GPS needs a clear, totally unobstructed line of sight to the sky. If you've ever fired up an old GPS device, you know pulling satellite data from space requires what's called a cold start, and that can take a painfully slow 30 to 90 seconds. But today,
brilliant engineering fixed that with assisted GPS. Instead of waiting forever for that slow download from a satellite, your phone just grabs the current satellite data over your cellular internet connection, dropping that wait time down to under 5 seconds. Game changer.
And when those satellites are completely blocked, say you're deep in an urban canyon of skyscrapers, your phone doesn't skip a beat. It seamlessly drops back to cell tower triangulation, measuring signal strength from nearby towers to find you within 50 to 300 meters. Walk indoors? It switches again, this time to Wi-Fi positioning, analyzing the signals of nearby routers to pinpoint you to an impressive 15 to 40 meters.
Now, how on earth does your phone know where your local coffee shop's Wi-Fi router is? Well, tech giants like Google and Apple literally built massive databases through ward driving. They drove fleets of sensor-packed cars up and down basically every street, physically mapping out the locations of millions of Wi-Fi access points. It's a massive undertaking.
But what if you drive into a long underground tunnel and lose absolutely every signal? Your phone still has a trick up its sleeve. It uses something called dead reckoning. By tapping into its internal motion sensors, the accelerometer and gyroscope, it constantly calculates your speed and direction from your last known GPS spot. That's how that blue dot magically keeps moving right along the tunnel with you until you pop back out into the signal.
All right, let's wrap this up with Section 4, the price of precision. It's a breathtakingly complex stack of technologies. Let's bring all these incredible layers together and see what this actually means for your daily life. It's the stuff we rely on every single day. Turn-by-turn navigation that never misses a beat. Uber knowing exactly which street corner you're on. Fitness apps perfectly tracking your morning run. Life-saving features like Find My iPhone, and even smart geofencing that triggers your smart home to turn on the lights the second you pull into the driveway.
But, there is a flip side to all this immense convenience. The necessary trade-off is that your phone is continuously tracking your location. Incredibly detailed profiles of your movements are constantly being built behind the scenes. That's how a service like Google Timeline can show you exactly where you were on a random Tuesday 3 years ago.
So what's the big takeaway here? It's that you are ultimately in the driver's seat. App permissions on your device are literally the only barrier deciding who gets to tap into this endless stream of highly precise data. You have the power to manage those settings, balancing that amazing convenience with your own personal privacy. We've journeyed from 20,000 kilometers out in space, navigated the weirdness of Einstein's relativity, bounced off local cell towers, and landed right back in your pocket. The sheer amount of infrastructure working silently in the background just to give you that tiny blue dot is absolutely awe-inspiring. So next time your phone pinpoints you instantly, will you look at it differently? You now know the invisible symphony of satellites, towers, and physics making it all happen. Thanks so much for joining me on this explainer, and keep exploring the amazing technology hidden right in plain sight.